What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. I am your host, Peter Parkour of the Distorted Theorists, and I'm here today to review the newest episodes of Daredevil Born Again Season 1 on Disney+. Now, before we get into anything else, as always, there's a little bit of housekeeping. If you are new to the channel, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below if you're enjoying the content, and especially if you want to tell your friends to subscribe as well. If you are returning to the channel, as always, make sure to hit that like, share, and comment down below to tell us, the Distorted Theorists, what you think of Daredevil Season 1, Daredevil Born Again Season 1. Now, without any further ado, let's get into the review for the newest episodes of Daredevil. All right, welcome back. So, as you saw in the intro, we're going to be continuing to review Daredevil Born Again episodes as they release. So, Disney kind of surprised us. Well, Disney and Marvel. I was going to say Marvel then. Disney and Marvel kind of surprised us with a shadow drop of 2 episodes instead of the 1. If this was known beforehand, I wasn't aware of this. But they did drop episode 5 and 6 simultaneously. So we were able to watch with interest and excessive force pretty much at the same time. And it was a nice little parallel between these 2 episodes. I really and truly think that the 5th episode, with interest, was almost a little filler episode. Not that they just kind of slotted it in at the end. It was a bottle episode, very self-contained. And then excessive force was once again, we're out in the city, things are happening, and it was a much more serious tone, especially with how it ended, as opposed to with interest. So I'll get into it. We'll go over a little bit of the plots and discuss all the things that I thought I saw as everything was going on. So in episode 5, with interest, we noticed that Matt is meeting with somebody who I didn't realize who they were at first, but he's meeting with them to either get a loan exemption, a loan extension, something along the lines to aid in the firm that he's currently working for. And then I happened to notice that there was a Miss Marvel pop vinyl, which I thought was really cool. I'm like, oh my God. So, they're keeping the continuity clean. And then I was looking at not the manager, essentially the assistant manager that Matt was talking to, and I realized, wait, isn't that Kamala's dad? And it is. Through introspection, through conversation, we realized that is Yusuf Khan, Kamala Khan's dad, and that Pop Funko is actually a custom-made one, talking about the hero of Queens? Oh my God, Jersey. They're in Jersey. As opposed to Hell's Kitchen, as opposed to Queens, which is Spider-Man's domain, all that kind of stuff. But then something obvious happens, really and truly. It's one of these moments in Marvel shows that you come to expect, really and truly, is there's a bank robbery with a superhero inside that they didn't realize was actually in there. Big gasps and everything. But somehow Matt manages to leave during either, I can't remember if he leaves during the proceedings, like just as they're like passing each other coming in or out. But he's already on his way out when they come in. Now, I was doing my best to try and count it off the top of my head, but I do feel that the masks that they were wearing, that the crooks were wearing, were Infinity Stone colors. Was it intentional? Was it? I'm pretty sure I'm missing at least one of them, but still, I was like looking at them and like, well, they're doing colorful things, which again isn't great for a crime. Not that I'm promoting crime or anything like that, but it's very not good to have identifying features. You kind of want to have the same things in case anything. But you know what? That's too far into it. I'm watching too much SVU, watch too much CSI. And the crooks, of course, this is on Patty's Day, so they're coming in and they've got some righteous things that you can tell in the background. There's something that they're alluding to. That they're working for this person, or it's not just meant to be this, and they're looking for a gem. I will mention, and again, I'm no screenwriter, so I'll shut up if someone tells me to, but really and truly, some of the dialogue that was produced by the robbers and some of the hostages, and eventually once Matt gets there, the dialogue feels a bit stale. But again, it could be by the fact that like these heists, these robberies, these bank thefts, we see them so many times in movies that it's just like everyone on the ground, no one gets hurt. Someone's got to go to the bathroom. Oh, you're a tough guy. Whack. It's it's a trope, really and truly. Am I going to fault the showrunners for this? No, but it just didn't catch my attention as much for some of the dialogue. However, immediately following this, when Matt has to go to the bathroom, he has to make his tinkle. It's the quietest fight ever, and I loved that. Big kudos, big parallel here. Big kudos to the showrunners for being able to again showcase the close quarters combat, the hand to hand, the very like the visceral aspect of what Matt is able to do as Daredevil. Brutal, and again, I would have loved to have heard what the actual audio during these fights would have been, because they're not going like ha, he, ha, like you see like when Chris Evans is fighting oh my god, the Winter Soldier. I cannot remember his name. Bucky Barnes, but it's anyways, when they're fighting and you can hear the ha, hoo, ha, and all the behind the scenes footage, but in the movie it's just like you're not getting that same sounds that they're making throughout their fight. But I would love to hear the behind the scenes footage of this fight and see if it was actually as quiet. I know post processing and editing and all that stuff really changes it too, especially with ADR. But it was a really cool fight to watch. And then I'm trying to determine, did he kill that guy? Like he finishes that fight pretty like there's no question of who won that fight. But at the very end, like it looks like he could have done something to kill that dude. But anyways, it is Daredevil. He's known to not really take too much quarter, especially after what he did to Bullseye. He was ready to kill him, and I think he thought he did. And then the "who knows a good joke" line that followed that. I'll release the hostage as long as you can tell me a good joke. Oh, really? Make the villain laugh. And I won't lie, I didn't get it. Maybe if I go back and really think on it, I listened to it once and I was like, wait, what about a penguin? Someone wants to explain it to me? Sure, go for it. And then the other thing that really got me in this episode, as again with the whole detective, like it was very Batman. I know different franchise, different everything, but like it was detective. Or why are they here? Oh, they're doing this. We figured out the key. We did. We're going to work together to get all the keys open, or the doors. We did it. Ah, isn't that cool? And the nice introspection between the conversations between Yusuf and Matt about being a hero and all that kind of stuff. Why would you do this? Why are you protecting yourself? And all that kind of stuff. But then we're gonna send SWAT in on my count from 10. From 10. 10. Why would you do 10? Why not 17? Why not 23? 1, 2, 3. Like, man, this episode only has so much time. Like, you're gonna have to pick it up. And I'm so surprised that they just didn't do a 3, 2, 1. Again, it's a small thing for me, but I think the 10, I know they're doing it to build suspense, but it just doesn't seem practical. That's just me. But then everything happens. Everyone gets arrested except for the ringleader. He manages to get out. He's dressed as a cop, whatever. I can't remember now if he had it underneath his uniform or sorry, if he had the uniform underneath his jumpsuit, or if he had it in a duffel bag and threw it on and just went from there. But regardless, Matt/Daredevil wasn't going to let that fly. Throws the mask on, goes after him. Wicked fight, very reminiscent of the fight that was held in the witness's apartment. Very visceral. Dude gets glass to the face right after bouncing, something like that. But then, oh my God, the knee. Jumping on the outstretched leg, right on the knee. You hear it, you see it. Ugh. That dude's going to be in traction for a long time. But again, leads to, like I just mentioned, the brutality of Daredevil. We didn't get to see a ton of that in the Netflix series, but seems that Disney is not holding it back. And then the episode ends really and truly with um, another meeting between Matt and Yusuf after during the aftermath and everything. And I can't do anything about your loan, but maybe we could talk about investments and that kind of stuff, which is cool. He's a man of the people, Yusuf really and truly is, because he appreciates what the vigilantes and the heroes are able to do. Obviously, because his daughter is Miss Marvel. And then we notice that he finds the rock. What's going to happen with that? Is he going to use it? Is it going to serve another purpose for the rest of the show? Unsure. But it was a cutesy little uh, filler bottle episode. I really liked it. Yeah, I had my misgivings with it, but it still holds up as, what, like, we need to see the lighter side of the heroes. As much as this wasn't Matt going out and skipping through Central Park with an ice cream and petting all the dogs and with a little cotton candy and ice cream and everything. Like, we're not seeing that when I mean lighthearted. It's just like, oh, we get a little break from the seriousness of the bigger picture of Mayor Fisk and all this stuff. And okay, we get to see him be a hero. We get to see him be Daredevil without actually putting on the suit. It was, for lack of a better term, cute. And then we transition right into episode 6, which follows more so from episode 4, where Wilson is trying to do his stuff to become the mayor. Sorry, not to become the mayor, to be the mayor that he feels he wants to be. But there's a couple of conversations that are held throughout the episode that I thought were um, like important. Not that anything really gets missed, but we got to see the swordsman at the very beginning in one of the BB reports. And I knew that Tony Dalton was going to be involved in this. I didn't know what capacity. So we saw the swordsman in some I think it's a basketball court, and he's just fending someone off. Does he have a sword? No, but he's got something. I'm pretty sure it could be a sword too. Excuse me. Oh my God, my breakfast is repeating on me. And then we got to see Matt quoting some scripture, keeping in tone with the Catholic undertones of Matt Murdock and Daredevil's character. Always those big covers with him basically being a gargoyle on top of churches, next to crosses, all that kind of stuff, doing the whole brooding Batman on top of tall spires. Again, they're not the only one. Batman doesn't own that, neither does Daredevil, neither does Spider-Man, but it happens a lot. But then there's a neat conversation between Matt and I swear to God, I cannot remember her name, but his little boo, and about how her editor is hounding her for her next book, of which she's, I think I'm going to focus on the vigilante. Why we as non-vigilantes, I don't know why I said that so weird, vigilante. Why we revere the mask? What does the mask do? It's besides strip us away, so we can act like animals. And it's funny because once again, you're seeing the parallels between Daredevil and Kingpin, because Kingpin has never had the mask. He's always had his face. He's never worn a balaclava or anything to hide what he's doing. He just does it pretty much in plain sight. When he was the Kingpin, it was a lot of stuff that was hidden. But now when he's wearing the mask of Mayor, he's becomes a different animal. But then in the parallel, we see mild-mannered Matt Murdock, I'm the lawyer. But when he wears the guise of Daredevil, whether it's wearing the mask and the suit or when he just snaps and does his primal scream, that's when he acts like an animal. It's almost, it's kind of more where we see that, but he becomes more visceral where with the mask on, whereas Wilson was visceral and beating the people to death with just his bare fists, plain as day. So it's kind of neat to see that. And again, I know this is we're seeing the parallels between the two of them foreshadowing or throughout the show, and this does foreshadow kind of what we're going to continue to see as it goes on. But then we got to see we got to see Wilson meeting with the people, the higher ups of New York, the people on the board of directors, all these different people, to see, like, this is what I want to do for the city. What can I count on your support? And I saw someone in there that is in another show that I'm really watching. It's the head nurse from The Pit, and she was in it. I was like, oh, it's a completely different take on her. So I thought that was really cool. We got to see the swordsman again and a couple of other people. And just to see those twitches in her in his face as he's realizing, they're like, we know what you did, we know why you're doing this, but you know what, we can't be associated with you in not so many terms. Like, it wasn't quite alluding to that, but I was getting the feel it was just like, Wilson, we're running the city. As much as you're the figurehead, we run it. And nah, I'm not going to fund this. I'm not going to fund this. You're doing too much too fast when you do something that really is really going to benefit us, as opposed to something that really kind of aligns with your previous interests. I don't know. So he's pissed. We can tell that. And then we also, there was just a thought that I had at some point, is I would just love for, again, Matt's girlfriend to interview the Punisher, because when we talk about vigilante, yeah, that would be a good one to get for her book. And then we saw a little white tiger. She comes by to visit, and I was hoping that we were going to see, like, not the full chain in the medallion, but like a bit of the chain poke out and be like, is that? And just in a split second, and maybe it did happen and I missed it, but she's really pleading to be like, why you try to help my dad, why can't you help me? I want to know who killed not my dad, my uncle. And this Muse guy, like, this is bad, we've got to try and do something. And I thought it was really, like, it was just cute. Be like, okay, well, now she's going to play into this. How much she was going to play into this, I didn't realize. And then again, it starts to pivot once more to Muse, talking about the mask, the animalistic tendencies. And throughout the show, they've been showing these murals, and it becomes apparent, or it became apparent to me, I don't know if anyone else realizes right off the hop, but these are Muse's murals that he's been doing. And I'm pretty sure that this was the episode. I'm trying to make sure that I don't get anything mixed up with episode 7, which is going to be following my episode right now. But I'm pretty sure that one of the hostages in the previous episode, episode 5, was the sanitation manager, who comes to Wilson to say, like, yeah, this is so hard to get off the buildings and try to sandblast this, that, and the other thing, but it's because it's mixed with human blood. Like, that's why it's so hard. It's bonded to the concrete so well. Which then leads to the creation of the task force of bad eggs that Wilson puts together. And this is no body cams, overtime pay, going against what he was basically fighting with the chief of police previous to. What are you doing? The dog is she's just cuddling right under the chair. It's okay. You're fine. You put your head down. And they're anti-vigilantes that are part of this task force. And we do see Officer What's-His-Name that got his face smashed in. But these aren't great people, but we do see some people that are like, they probably still want to do some good after hearing that story. And then that big expiring speech from Fisk as to why we're doing this is important, blah, blah, blah. But we clearly know that he's doing this for Muse, but there's something that he just wants to keep Matt at bay because he knows he's Daredevil. And then we show Little White Tiger in the subway looking for Muse. We've been seeing how Muse has been operating through the city. We saw the 2 murders that he performed in I think the beginning of the episode, or at least partway through it. She gets captured by him, and he starts to work on her, as in, like, well, you're going to be my next portrait, and puts the whatever that weird vial to get all the blood out was. But then her words, as another parallel, are at the same time weighing on Matt's mind. And then it's just one of those moments that it was a full circle moment that I didn't think was going to happen, because, again, I'm going to do my best not to curse in any of these videos, just because, like, I'd like to keep family friendly. And we know the show isn't totally family friendly, but there is a bit of cursing through it, which is fine. In today's day and age, like, this is just where we get to that point in a lot of stuff. Game of Thrones really set the tone for that. But anyways, I'm getting ahead of myself. But we saw now he's not the first one to do it. Star-Lord did it in Guardians 3, but he just says, like, what is he's weighing and trying to figure out, like, well, am I gonna do this? Am I not gonna do this? Am I gonna do this? Am I not gonna do this? And then he just says, and he puts the suit on and he runs out, and he basically follows the same trail that Little White Tiger was following. I know her name was mentioned. I just can't remember it. Um, and he proceeds to beat the absolute bejesus out of Muse. It's a great fight. And I was thinking at one point, hey, this Muse, he's got some chops too. He's pretty good fighting too. He takes some pretty big hits and keeps on ticking, honestly. And it was a good fight because again, it added the whole, because a lot of the other fights have been like one-on-one. I know the one in the previous episode where he was trying to keep quiet, so he was fighting against noise and the gun falling. But in this one, he's trying to protect Little White Tiger as much as he can, while Muse is trying to kill him and her. So it's like he's got to, I'm gonna stop this, but oh no, he's going towards her, and oh no, he's gonna do this, so you can't let him get away. And it's a kind of cool, like he's got to juggle at the same time. And then it works out. Like I said, it's a great fight, and it works out in everyone's favor except Muse escapes. Boo-hoo. You know, we knew it was going to happen. It wasn't going to be over that quickly. But overall, it was these two episodes really and truly showed a different side. Again, I'm pretty sure we've got different directors, but it's still like the same producers, so they've got a hand in it. But you can tell, like, the last episode was kind of a fun romp, and like, ho ho, Daredevil's back, I'm gonna fight, and it's on Patty's Day, so tiddly 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 hoity hoity ho. And it was it was the bottle episode, and this one really opened it more to the city, and we got to see more of Muse, who's been talked about, and we've seen snippets of him throughout the show, but now we finally got to see Muse, which I thought was great. Overall, these two episodes, they weren't bad. They weren't great either. It was because, again, we're building to something. And I know that's a stupid thing to say, because generally in all of these shows, not just Daredevil, not just Marvel shows, not just Star Wars shows, but everything, like, you're generally building towards a big shocking twist in the mid-season finale, and then a big twist that happens in the finale, or some shocking revelation, or whatever that is, like, you're left with, and then you've got to wait 8 months for the next season to come. We know that every episode is technically building to something, but sometimes shows, there's a lot of episodes like, what are we doing here? Like, are we building towards something? Are there little nuances that are being mentioned that are eventually just going to kind of all come together and like, oh, that's why they were talking about that 4 episodes ago. That makes sense, but it's never been talked about since. But we can tell that there is a buildup, and it's hard to know a lot of the stakes, or hard to feel a lot of the stakes too, because we know that Daredevil Born Again Season 2 is currently filming, to which we've seen some pretty cool Daredevil suits, I won't lie. But regardless, I enjoy these. And it's a pretty good theme that we're going through. That it's a pretty good look that I'm enjoying these. I'm not leaving the episodes going, huh, or that was crap. Why did we do that? So that's where I'm gonna leave it. It's a nice. They were nice episodes. Let me put it that way. They weren't groundbreaking. They weren't terrible, but we're still building to something. What we're gonna build towards? Well, I know what happens in episode 7, and you probably do too, because it's gonna follow this one right after this. Timey-wimey, wibbly-wobbly. But yeah, so that's where I'm going to leave it. I'm going to give these episodes like a solid 7 or 8 out of 10. Nothing great, nothing bad. They were entertaining to watch, which is all I can really ask for. Didn't leave me with a bunch of confusion like the Acolyte. It didn't leave me angry like the Acolyte. So hooray, that's where I'm going to leave it. So again, thank you for stopping by and watching me prattle on about Daredevil Born Again Season 1, Episodes 5 and 6. It's a mouthful. As always, if you are new to the channel, please make sure that you're hitting that subscribe button, so at least you can know when more stuff from the Distorted Theorists, i.e. me talking about Daredevil, Justin's doing the reactions, I'm doing the reviews. But if you're returning to the channel, as always, make sure to hit that like. If you can share, we'd love it. And please comment down below what you think of the last 2 episodes of Daredevil Born Again, and where you think the show is going, and what you expect to see in season 2. Ooh. And with that, I'm Peter Parkour of the Distorted Theorists, and like we always say around here, keep it real.